workers from the UK and beyond. Behind me you can see Westward Ho and the 3 miles of Saunton Sands. Behind them, 2,000 acres of Braunton Burrows, which form the heart of the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve that now extends to cover this entire area. And then round the coast, the popular surfing beaches of Croyd and Putsborough and Woolacombe, separated by these extraordinary headlands of Baggy Point and Mort Point and Bull Point. And then out to sea, the mysterious Lundy Island. The waters around Lundy were the UK's first marine nature reserve, and since 2010 they've been designated a marine conservation area. Then to the north, the outer Bristol Channel, a stretch of water that separates this beautiful coast from the equally beautiful Pembroke and Gower peninsulas on South Wales coast. It's a really extraordinarily beautiful place. But is it the right place to build 200 giant wind turbines? Why would the government give permission for that to happen? In 2008, the European Union adopted a target called 20-20-20.
The European Union is the world leader in the development of renewable energy. It intends to stay in the lead and is committed to reaching the objective of 20% of renewable energy by 2020.
It was a target that was enthusiastically adopted by the then Energy Secretary Ed Miliband and by his successor Chris Huhne. No more half measures going off at half-cock. Meanwhile, under another EU directive, we are required to close many of our coal and oil-fired power stations by 2016. And by 2020, almost all of our nuclear capacity will have gone, thanks to the dithering of previous governments over their replacement. So, in an attempt to close the UK's looming energy gap and meet the EU target, the government has plans to build around 30,000 wind turbines over the next 20 years. Many of those turbines are being built on onshore sites, but much more ambitious plans, requiring much greater public subsidy, are planned for large-scale offshore arrays, like the ones proposed for the Jurassic Coast, the Bristol Channel, the Thames Estuary, the Wash, and Liverpool Bay, where we met up with local MEP Paul Nuttall. So Paul, you've got up here in Liverpool Bay some experience of offshore, a reasonable-sized offshore wind array, with the Burvo Bank array here that was built in 2007. What's that experience been like?
As you can see behind me at the moment, they're not turning at all. There's been problems since they've been built. Firstly, we had problems with the cables in 2009, which meant they were knocked out for 4 weeks. There's no problem with the ground sinking in the foundations. And finally, there's problems with the blades, which have had to be changed. They're not really an answer to our energy crisis or energy gap at the moment. And the answer surely has to be to keep open our coal-fired power stations, but unfortunately, the EU's large combustion plant directive is preventing us from doing so. 3 of the coal-fired power stations which we're about to take offline each produce the amount of energy that all of our wind turbines together in this country produce. But as the Germans are opening new coal-fired power stations, or even old coal-fired power stations, we seem to be closing ours and building more wind farms. Now, the Germans have 19,000 wind turbines. Not one single coal-fired power station is closed. It's unfeasible. It's unworkable. We're going to have a serious energy crisis. The government have even admitted that bills are likely to go up by an average of 27%.
What should we be doing?
Well, what we should be doing is looking at alternatives. Of course, we should be keeping open our coal-fired power stations. But if you look behind me, you've got the biggest reserve in Europe in shale gas. Now, shale gas itself has allowed energy bills to be reduced in the United States by around 30%. It's something we should be looking at, and I think it's something which could create jobs for this area in particular.
Some of the problems with wind turbines are immediately obvious to the naked eye. Behind me here is the new Fullerbrook Down wind farm, sited just a few miles from where the Atlantic Array is proposed, which, as you can see, has transformed this popular landscape.